Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Fireside Chat. I'm really been eagerly anticipating this one. It's with a good old friend of mine, Nathan Ott, who I'm going to have introduce himself very, very shortly. This session's all about the DNA of game changers and high impact teams. So for the next sort of 30 minutes or so, we're going to really be talking about how you build teams, how you identify the different proclivities within teams. How do you build a team that's going to go out there and really, really deliver and drive the results that you want to? I know a lot of you who are in business normally have that age-old thing about where do I find the right resources and how do I actually assemble them in. So for the next 30 minutes, we've got the guru here of game-changing teams. So Nathan, good afternoon and welcome. How are you?
Hi, Ketan. How are you?
Very good.
Have you been sat on that sofa all day?
I've been sat on that sofa all day. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, I've just been glued to all the different sessions that have been going on. It's been amazing.
Good. Some really good sessions, actually. I've been having it tuned in as much as I can today, and some really, really good sessions. And as I think I said to you earlier, that Carl Reader session was excellent. If anyone's not seen that Carl Reader session from this morning, I'd go and watch it. It was great.
Well, there you go, Carl. You're getting props here. You're getting props here, Carl. So
well, you know how many compliments I give out often. So I don't often say, exactly. That was very good. Very good.
Excellent. So before we get into it, Nathan, just and learn more about the GC Index and stuff like that, just tell the audiences a little bit about yourself, if you could.
Yeah, of course. So how far back do you want me to go? You could tell by my accent that it's south of England, for want of a better place, London-ish. Grew up. My parents grew up in a pub. My parents had a pub restaurant, very successful, and then I really didn't want to go to university, but apparently I was quite clever, but I didn't like it, very academic. So I went to university, sort of the only one in your family to do that type of stuff back then. Where realised I didn't want to go in the corporate world quite early. Then at 25, co-founded with a colleague, a previous company, a company called EG1. So EG1 is an organisation that helps companies grow, actually, interestingly. And that's what we've been doing. That company's still going and doing very well. In 2013, we look when these organisations are looking to grow, because you've got two choices if you're going to grow, really. I mean, if you've got to grow, you've got to buy people or buy another company. That's it, right? And that's really what EG1 focuses on. But in 2013, we noticed there was something different around, and people were struggling with trying to attract certain types of talent and people to transform their businesses. Yeah. And that's when the research of what is now, as you know, the GC Index started in 2013.
And it's a fascinating journey that we've had with the GC Index. I mean, I've been privileged to be involved with it since the
early on
inception, right early on. So just tell the audience a little bit more about what the GC Index actually is. I think some people will be intrigued with it. So just tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, it's morphed really through organisations and partners pushing us on. So if I go right back actually to put some context around what it is, it started back in 2013 when organisations were coming to us saying, we need to hire some different people, or I need to do something radically different, or whatever it might be. I've got a new business, growth, starting something up, whatever. Yeah. And you'd look at it and the frameworks or however they're looking to get these people or work with these people just wasn't working. So we sort of said, well, this looks like a bit of a waste of time then, really, what you've invested in here. So we called these people game changers initially. So in 2013, we put a study into these people called game changers, and you'll see that study. I think it's available. 2015. It feels quite old now, but that's what happened, and that was lovely. But what happened was, of course, what these organisations were sort of in their minds were saying, if we can get 10 Steve Jobs or 10 Oprah Winfreys into our business, then everything's going to be all right. Yeah. And it's a load of nonsense, right? We know that's a load of nonsense, yeah. And so what that then led into is the study into the DNA of a game-changing team, which was where the model started to come in 2016, 2017. Yeah. And all the GC Index is a language and a framework for how people best want to and best can make an impact to a team, a role, a business. Yeah. Fast Well, I'll have to fast forward now. You tell me. I'll just carry on talking, right? So just fast forward on to now. We launched in 2017, and it just seems to resonate, Ketan. I mean, it just resonates. Big businesses, small business. We've got a young people version, and 1,450 clients, 50 countries, 158.
Just to add to that, one of the things that you said to me when we first met is you had an aspiration or a vision to have a certain amount of the population of the world take the GC.
Yeah. Well, I think this is why Carl's thing today really was great. Yeah, because it was really pragmatic. Because I like to call myself realistically delusional, right? Because a lot of startups, people have these great ideas, and we're going to change the world. And Carl was great. You're sort of like, you spend all your time, thinking you're going to change the world, and you spend all your time thinking that you're the next big thing, but I genuinely believe that we're going to impact 10% of the world's population. Yeah. And I've been saying that, and Beju, if he's listening, will know I've said that on a podcast with him. So they started laughing at me. Yeah, they were laughing at me in 2014, 2015, and probably rightly so, but they're not laughing now. And, and that's quite nice, actually.
It is. I think I mean, you've got to have audacious goals at the end of the day, the whole thing about building these teams as well is that teams and these individuals and these resources need that kind of vision, that clarity of what to aim for, and they need to be energized into it to a certain degree. And I mean, obviously, I've had the opportunity of working with you and the GC Index. We've applied it into a lot of the work that we do with our businesses and clients and stuff like this. What is the DNA of high performing teams? What is it about teams that need people like business owners and others need to think about, even leaders from corporates and stuff like that? What is it that they really need to really understand is the essence of or the DNA of high performing teams?
Yeah, also, so teams are collections of individuals, right? And of course, when an individual, everyone in that team knows how they can best contribute to that team. Yeah. Understand how others can best contribute and impact that team. And most important, that contribution is valued. And this sounds quite highfalutin, but it's not. Then once it's valued, yeah, then you're sort of fizzing. Then you're game changing in because I've got loads of examples, right? I mean, let's take another example. Let's say I talk a lot about football, right? As you know, you support the right side of Liverpool. Well, I've got the accent for Liverpool fans. We're not proper Scousers, so I'm like Evertonian. So, but if you take a kids football team, for example, right, and you say, right, we're going to have a winning culture, we're going to win games, and but your only metric of winning is scoring goals, right? Yeah. But all those kids are going to sit there, run around trying to score goals. They're going to feel crap if they don't score goals, right? And that's good. But if you start saying, look, this is how we win. You win by defending goals. This is how you contribute to winning, by midfield or creating play or helping your teams. And then together, that's how we all contribute to winning. And that contribution is valued. Yeah. Then you start getting a winning team. Then you start getting, that. And it's the same, I think, where the biggest revelation for the GC Index for me, because I had two businesses and we were pretty successful, right? Did all right. And I know I mentioned Beju before, he's always said, you are an entrepreneur. And I've always gone, I don't think I'm an entrepreneur. No, right? Because that has this different connotation. But I realized that myself and my colleague, Andrew Gray, I'm not sure if he's listening, who we founded EG1 with, through the GC Index, I realized that I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm not a business person. Yeah. And I think that's really difficult. So you've got startup, scale up. I sit very nicely in that startup space. Yeah. So I'm very good at getting things from nothing to something, 10 people, 10, 12 people. And it took us years with EG1 to realize this. Yeah. Because Andrew and I were the same. We'd go up, we'd be like to 20 people, and then it'd all be, it's too much. And it'll all go back down again. We could never get it over that point. Yeah. We've subsequently the last 2 years, 3 years within the GC Index and an EG1, we've brought in very different team members, and they're much more on the left-hand side of the GC Index model for those that know it. And that's been a revelation. And if I'd have learned that, if I'd have known that 10 years ago, wow, I'd have been much more successful than I am now.
But that's what it's all about. I mean, you coined the statement that, you know, not everyone's a game changer, but everyone can make a game-changing impact or contribution, right? And this is the thing that I think people need to understand and learn. You know, that as a business owner, you normally start out on your own or with one other person, and it's not about the skills or the attributes. It's your proclivity that builds the, you know, where you go within that business. You mentioned it yourself. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm not into business. Whereas perhaps maybe your business partner would be more the business, less the entrepreneur. And there is that line of complement in this kind of base. Now, what you also mentioned there is that you've got a lot more people introduced to your company and your team that come from the left-hand side of this profile. Now, for anyone that's watching and goes, what profile are you talking about? Behind Nathan is the GC index in terms of its proclivities. The left-hand side is all about consistency. It's all about being able to drive and deliver, to plan and structure. And whereas the right-hand side is very much more about your emotion, your drive, your kind of intuition, innovation, entrepreneurial ideas, all this kind of base. Now, if you have too much of one side, it will create that imbalance. And it's not about creating a perfect balance in teams, right, Nathan? It's more about actually having the right people doing the right things at the right time.
Right time. Exactly. I mean, I'll give a real example. You know Simon. So Simon is much more corporate than I am. He was on the board of SAP in the UK. He checked out the last business for €1 billion. And that's what he always says. He wishes he was the founder rather than on the one of the directors and the management team, because he's made more money. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when Simon came into the business, I mean, I was going to throw it all in the bin, particularly the GC index. I was going to throw it all in the bin because no one could see what I was doing. I was working too many hours. Can I swear? I was pissing everyone off, right? Okay, in my team, you know, and
you're just being bullish. That's all you were.
No, because for me, it's about articulating. No one could see. I wasn't articulating myself very well. I was getting very impatient. I was trying too many things at once, and people were just spinning. And then Simon come in, and I just said, look, I mean, myself and Dr. John are quite similar. You know, Dr. John, the co-founder of the GC Index, we're quite similar in that we've got lots of lovely, great ideas. And Simon come in, and he looked at it and went, yeah, you're a very passionate cottage industry. That's what he said. And but right, and well, thanks very much. And he obviously thought I was a bit, you know, he said if I didn't have the GC index, he said I definitely wouldn't get on with you and know your value. And I said, yeah, probably the same. I think you're a bit boring. So we had that way, but he came in, and through that different way of structuring and scaling to what the GC index is now, it is a global brand. I could never have done that. Not in a million years. And I'm very pleased to say that, because I bet there's a lot of businesses out there that get to a certain size and you get a very proud founder or CEO or someone struggling to take it to the next level. Yeah. And I think the GC would not be where it is today if it wasn't for bringing Simon in at all.
Well, you raised something really valid, which I guess a lot of business owners, including myself, I've suffered and been a victim of this and struggled along the way. You know, you feel wholly responsible for almost everything within your company. It's your business. It's your baby at the end of the day. You know, it's what you've started. Up yourself. You feel compelled that you've got to do everything within the business and have a touch point in everything. And the fact that when you do let go of something, you don't really trust it. You can't entrust it into someone. But the other side to this is that people want to let go, but they don't know how to let go.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and just explain to us how the GC index really helps business owners understand how they can let go.
Yeah, so a lot of people who are listening want to go, oh, it's another people framework. You go, oh, okay, great, here we go. I've done all these ones, and it's not a personality test. It's not a competency. It's a framework or a test. What the G says is a people. It's a business tool, and it's on a high level business model. It's built on a high level business model. So you have individuals that want to come and impact the role, the team, their organization with. With ideas. That's above the line, if you put my head, get the strategists and game changer. But game changers are about possibilities, unstructured ideas. They can, they can see the world very differently, which when captured is great. But if you've got these ideas that are all radical and new and different, but they don't make sense to anyone, hence me 3 years ago, no good. So the strategists, are those individuals that ideas again, but in a much more linear way. They make sense of these ideas, right? And they bring that clarity and direction and make all the mess. Someone said to me, my job is to make the strategist, my job is to make the messy clear. I'm messy, make the messy. And that's great. You might have a lovely idea, but then you need to get on and do something with it, or it remains an idea. So you need your implementers. This is getting back to Carl's stuff, right? It's all very well avoiding stuff. You need to get on and do some stuff, right? Yeah. And so the implementers, stop thinking, stop talking, stop worrying, get on with it. Yeah, implementers. And then we've got the polishers, which are about obsessive action. So it's about incremental improvement and not just that's good enough. It's right. How can we improve this more? They're relentless.
Yeah.
Polishers are innovative, game changer, inventive. That's a whole new way of looking at these things. And then playmakers, we've all got to work together. And that's not about being socially skilled or politically correct or whatever, and all these learned behaviors that we have, emotionally intelligent, nice person. No, it's genuine. We've got to work together. So when you put all these together, any successful team, any successful business needs all of these elements at different degrees at a different time. I've got one eye on the question there, so I'm trying to answer it at the same time. And it's really about what do we need to achieve? What impact do we need to make at this point in time? Do we have the right energies, impact of individuals at the right time? Makes sense?
No, I think it's, and we've got a question coming, which I'm going to take in a second. But I think it's really important that if you can actually have a blueprint almost given to you, showing you what you have and what you don't have, what's kind of missing, it's already based on where you want to go and what you want to do. So if you are a business that's looking to scale, there is a type of team that you require. We've talked about the norming, storming, formings and stuff like this. Yep. Then yep. If you're a business that's looking to protect yourselves, maybe in the current climate, for example, you need a particular team culture and process to go through that. And that's, I guess, what the GC Index brings. It brings this ability to be able to give you this visualization of what you have and what's missing. So the question I have, quite interesting enough, kind of wraps around this. So we can build a perfect team using the GC Index to help us get the balance right. Does that mean we can also identify the perfect leader?
Okay, well, you've hit two of my topics there. So first of all, there's no such thing as a perfect team. That's a nonsense. Unless you talk to Ketan about Liverpool. But there's, but it could always be better. And there's no such thing as a perfect leader. What an absolute nonsense that is. I mean, because I don't mean that negative to the person that's asked the question, but we have this fallacy that, I've got to be the perfect leader, or the entrepreneur's got to have all these ideas. And no, it doesn't work that way. Okay. We have so for a GC Index, we have a multi-dimensional view of leadership where, we've seen it in history. All right. I mean, we look at all these leaders. And what happens is you get to give you the perfect leader. Get a long list of ingredients, right? Then you debate the ingredients and you realize there's loads of leaders that don't fit those ingredients that you've all agreed to in the first place. Churchill was great winning the war. Not sure how, Mother Teresa would have been good at winning the war, or Churchill would have been, doing Mother Teresa's job, for example, right? So there's loads of examples like that. So what we work with the GC Index is, this is the energy I have. This is the impact I want to make as a leader. How best can I do that? Because when and the same with a team. So with a team, you get posed two questions. This is where we want to make an impact to the team, right? Or this is what our team has the energy to do, or the impact to do. This is where we're going to be strong. Actually, it's going to ask questions about how we're going to do this. So in our world, if you've got a startup and you're all game changer strategists, for example, ideas and all this good planning, you might want to question how you're going to get your accounts in on time, right? Or do the boring admin, or whatever it might be. Does that make sense? I hope that's asked the right question.
Absolutely. I think one thing I'd like to add to that is the word perfect is momentarily. It's not a forever permanent thing. So when we talk about a perfect situation or a perfect moment or a perfect leader, it can only be, and sorry, my my dog has
Oh,
decided.
Simba, how we doing? Get him in.
Everyone say hello to Simba, who's
Yes, Simba.
hyperactive right now. It's time to play basically. But
Yeah, bring him in.
but the thing I'm talking about here is it's momentary. So it's situational. You mentioned, for example, Churchill and Mother Teresa. You know, there are instances where people that will create a perfect moment of their leadership, but it's not something that can be sustained forever, because as soon as your environment changes, as soon as that perfect moment has arrived, you then go back and restart again, which means that the environment situation has changed, which means that you need to be a lot more fluid with your understanding of this. Now, one of the other things that I want to touch point on here about high productive teams is it's not just about understanding the proclivity of who they are, what they can do, and where they make their best contributions, but it's also understanding how they onboard information, how they're going to be able to accept things, and the way in which they will actually undertake what they need to go on and do. The word's passionate, right? As you mentioned, you know, passion drives you from an emotional level, but it can also make you do things excessively. So if we use Steve Jobs as an example, would have been a game changer 10, Polisher 10, for example, highly creative, genius in terms of seeing things that other people didn't see, absolutely meticulous about the things he wanted to do, you know, wouldn't let anything go until it was exactly perfect. But it took a Jonathan Ives to come in to really drive it forward. So I guess that's Steve Jobs's kind of, he had a strategist implementer come in and actually work with them, I guess, right? Is that
exactly? We know this, right? Exactly this, right? So look, the GC index is so simple, yeah, and that's, you know, but it's also extremely complex, and there's a lot when it comes underneath it. We know this.
Yeah.
If you've worked with someone, yeah, for 10 years, you know how they work. I don't mean their personality and what they like, and they like a beer and whatever, you know, and you know, not that. You know how they work. You know when a task comes in or something needs to be done, you're going to do that, and I'm going to do this. We know that innately, yeah. When you work with someone for so long, all the GC index does, yeah, is accelerates that into minutes. Yeah, that's all it does. It's about approach to work, approach to life.
I can vouch for this, guys. I can vouch for this. I am a high game changer, high playmaker. Nathan over here is a polisher 10, so he is an extreme polisher. I can go through and see things and trying to create things and develop things and spend hours on end doing this. And immediately, as soon as I deliver it to him, he will say, "Oh, there's a spelling mistake there. There's that there. There's that there. There's that there." And it's not a situation of the fact that, oh my God, he's actually critiquing. It's a natural instinct that comes in. So when you understand the power that you can bring in of you know, where your proclivity is high and where you can do your most effective work, by then putting that together into a sense of order, you can create productivity very, very quickly. Got another question that's come in.
So the flip side to that, Ket, that's how we work well together. Is obviously Ketan's much more game changer strategist ideas, right? I hate a blank sheet of paper. So Ketan just goes, "I'll just write," and I'm like, "No, I can't do that." Yeah, and I'll be stuck for days. But if Ketan would go, "Right, I'll put some bullet points down and flesh it out, and then you build upon that."
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. And we know that through the framework, and it just saves anxiety, drives productivity.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm just about to take this one question, but there's another thing I want to bring on. We've done work, or we work together on the EIT Energy project. Yeah. And one of the programs, one of the things we have in the program is a career impact challenge. Now, in here, we assemble, guys, what you're watching here, we assemble students into teams of 5 who don't know each other, have no form of connection to one another, but they're built on the proclivity that they have of their profiles. They're all built together, and they're put together for 3 days to respond to industry challenges. And when I say in 3 days, these guys come up with not only just tangible solutions, but are able to create an impact that actually innovation chiefs of these companies have come back and said, what your guys did in 3 days, my guys can't even do in 3 months. That demonstrates to you the effectiveness of how we all work together in these kind of
ways. That's E.ON. I mean, they've gone public with that. That's E.ON, the energy provider, and their innovation lab. Yeah.
So speaking about energy, let's get this question in. I know we've only got about 5 minutes to go now.
Yeah, sorry.
This is great. So this drives fluidity into organizations and make workforce more dynamic by moving individuals from one project to another by using their energy and impact to measure. Do you think this will destabilize job titles because people will move from project to project or role to role? After all, job titles are just another label.
Yeah, bingo. Yes. So absolutely, we have what's called organizations when they use the GC index have what's called GC people company, and that means we value the impact that everyone brings. So you're absolutely right. It brings that fluidity and dynamism through the business. Okay, there's always going to be a hierarchy, right? And well, shouldn't always be, but we're stuck with that. We've got a long way to change that. I'll give you a quick example. Big global pharmaceutical organization, you know they are, they'll be in the news, not Pfizer though, but another one. Just give you a clue, but they have a program where it's going around and getting sort of talent that they can pick and choose for different projects. Put the GC index in there. They know what talent to align to that project at what time. It gets them hitting the ground running. We're still a bit away from job titles, and I can get on to high potential and hierarchical leadership and how I think it's an absolute nonsense and cause a lot of the problems we have around equality in organizations, but we haven't got time.
Well, I think just to add to this, I think that there is this myth that, you know, titles proceed with things. And I think we are turning into a generation where we move with the times now, that titles are just titles. They're just positioned into it. Your roles are so multidisciplinary, you know, or interdisciplinary. You've got so many different things that you do in your roles today that, but it all comes back down to this whole thing of if you try to build everything based on a title, you will fail. If you try to build a team based on just understanding that that this is the skill that they have, you will fail.
Yeah. So fundamental belief, which kind of ties into another couple of questions come through. My fundamental belief is that everyone in the world has a positive impact to make, whether you're a Fortune CEO or a kid in a developing country, right? That is it, right? Yeah. And that is what I'm set out to make sure that we drive that in our way. And so, yeah, that's absolutely get rid of job titles, get rid of labels. Not interested.
Don't forget the 10% of the population, basically.
Well, 10% of the world. Well, our target is any human being over the age of 11. So we're going at it.
You're going at it for sure.
It's looking more
questions are coming in thick and fast. We're running out of time. Let me get to them. Nathan, what motivates you in the morning? What makes you get out of bed, and why do you do what you do?
What makes me get out of bed in the morning? A weak bladder, probably. But that's I'm getting old. But seriously, well, just that statement. I mean, I've spent a lot of time. I've had to. You can tell my accent. I've just posted something on LinkedIn now from one of our partners that was talking about being yourself. I've never really been able to be myself because I remember going into meetings, big corporate meetings. My colleague would say to me, you know, Nathan, remember? I'm like, yeah, I remember. I won't be myself in this one. It's important, right? So if I can just bring that knowledge to younger people and people around the world that are struggling with that, and look, you've got a positive impact to make. Let's all make it. That was what gets me out of really. That's what keeps me going. Yeah, and we build a community, and it's not about the money; it's about that, and the rest is secondary. You know,
spoken like a true entrepreneur.
Thank you. Yeah, Beju will be happy now. I've admitted it. Yeah.
Last question I'm going to be able to squeeze in now. Really, question 4: is there anywhere we can see examples of different leaders in this context? By the way, this is revolutionary. So people are obviously kind of tuning in.
So absolutely. So two things. We run what's called a GC People Leader series. You go onto our website or Ketan, make it available. So it's called GC, just you real leaders. You haven't done one yet, Ketan, you should do. And if anyone's got an interesting story about being a GC People Leader and want to do it, contact Ketan as well. And you'll see real live leaders talking about their profile. We also publish those in business magazines. So Duke, Dialogue, the global business journal. You'll see these real leaders talk about their profiles. There's loads of examples, but yeah, LinkedIn with me, I'll direct you to it as there's no problem. Yeah.
And don't forget, guys, in your swag bags, you have an offer that's opened up that the GC Index have put through. If you are interested in understanding your proclivity and how the GC Index works, they put in 25 gift links. So the first 25 people that contact me can take on the assessment and get a consultation.
Yeah.
And we've also got the download of the DNA of the Game Changer as well within that. So it's all in your swag bags already. We have run out of time.
Yeah, cool, man. Thanks very much, Ketan. Hope the rest of the event goes well. I'll catch some more in the afternoon and catch tomorrow.
No, it's been an actual pleasure having you on. Thank you for your stuff. And yeah, that's it, guys. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Ketan. Thanks, Simba. See you later. Bye.
Bye.